joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
Stroud in trouble, finds a place to go, and he's picked! Eccles has got it! Another turnover.
What's up, BBM?
Thank you so much for coming to support during our game.
We appreciate you all so much.
We'll see you on Thursday against Florida.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
It was a nice sort of hit by the women's basketball team. Come see us. What a great game. I really enjoyed watching them the other day when they came back against Oklahoma and won. The toughness they showed, as we've talked about it, was absolutely unequivocally off the charts. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alan Cutler, honored and pleased to be with you, feeling a little better. I would imagine there's a lot of people within the sound of my voice have gone through a little something. I ate one meal yesterday, a tiny meal, and without getting specific, Jimmy, it didn't last 5 minutes. Had a little fever yesterday. It's now gone, and I had a little meal this morning, and it's staying down. So it's the little things that make you feel better. So anybody out there who's got some sort of bug, my thoughts and prayers are with you. This has not been a fun 48 hours, and I think and hope that I'm past it. And I wish the same for you, anybody who's dealing with this kind of thing. Let me throw something that I heard with Tom Leach this morning with Goose. Goose said something that I loved. I didn't like it. I loved, and I text both Goose and Tom and said I was going to say something from their show and give them credit. Goose said, and he is a wonderful ambassador, and I'm going to say this with kindness, and somebody taking half of this, Jimmy, is going to take it the wrong way, and I can't help it, and I don't give a crap. I'm not saying anything negative towards any of the assistant coaches. I promise you. I honestly believe some of the things that Goose does because he's Goose, right? He's Goose. And I think the kids have probably looked him up and they sort of know what kind of spectacular player that he was. And he's got credibility that I can't have, that you can't have, that in some ways assistant coaches can't have because it's a non-threatening thing. And he gave a pep talk to Jasper Johnson the other day, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I don't make any bones about this. I'm a big Jasper fan for a couple reasons, partly because I'm a huge fan of the family. His grandfather, Alvis, is one of my favorite people I've ever met. Forget about sports. And the whole family. Just the whole family, it's spectacular. So I saw this, and Jimmy, I'm going to guess that you're going to say this is a wow. Are you ready, Jimmy?
Ready.
Evan Miyakawa, you're going to agree with me. And the reason we have that Evan on there, he's moving, and he said, hit me up in February. So I'm respecting that, obviously, but I follow him. You agree with me? He's a really smart young guy who's making a name for himself nationally, and he's a stat guy and a computer guy, and I think his stuff is spectacular, and the truth is it's way over my head. Do you agree with all that?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of the numbers, it's overwhelming when you hear him, but he is very, very good.
As a matter of fact, maybe we should lock Evan in a room with Pope.
Oh, the conversations the two of them could have about analytics and all these stats that we have no clue what they mean.
Okay, be no filter. I'm going to admit it before you. They might have a conversation if we were listening, like in another room, like kind of piped it in. It'd be more than once I go, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, are they still talking about basketball? I have no clue where they went.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to bet you, even with this buildup, this is going to surprise you. You going to take the bet?
I will.
Really? Okay. He says that Jasper Johnson is Kentucky's best offensive player. Tell me that didn't surprise the hell out of you.
Yeah, because one, I guess maybe, but we haven't seen it very much. So that's the part that gets me, where it's like I would have to see some more minutes against big competition to say he's the best offensive player.
According to Evan, Jasper is Kentucky's best offensive player, a very creative offensive player with a lot of potential. Now, I'm going to run down quickly the order of all the players. Who would you guess is number 2? This is not fair. I'm not doing that to you. That's ridiculous. Sorry about that. Let me apologize before doing it. Owe is 2. I'm a little surprised by number 3, by the way, Marino. That surprised you a little bit?
Yeah, I would have guessed. I would have guessed second, but that's kind of an easy guess. I would have guessed maybe Aberdeen. I did not even think about Marino though, but that is
Number 4 is really going to surprise you, Cam. And by the way, on Pope's coach's show last night, he hinted that Cam would be starting. Hinted. So you got Jasper, Owe, Marino, Cam, Diabate. Then this kind of surprises me. Aberdeen, Colin Chandler, Lowe, Garrison, Trent Noah, JQ, and Jelvik. Shocking or surprising? What do you think?
really the only one that's super surprising is Jasper being number 1. And I wonder, is part of that because he hasn't had as many minutes as the other guys?
No, I don't think so. Looking at his foreign language, my interpolation is, and I said that word wrong on purpose, I always have, not always, but for about 50 years, is that he's using a computer form, and it's based upon the minutes that you're playing, not your total points. Because, for example, one of the things that I do with baseball all the time, I love ESPN's thing. Let's say somebody starts playing in May, right? And then all of a sudden they become a regular. And they're behind what a regular player would be at bat-wise. But if you average it out over the season, what would you have home runs, RBIs? I do it in my head all the time. I love it. I think it's great. The way I read this, and I don't think I'm wrong, this is based upon, your number of minutes. And then they put it in there. So Jasper Johnson. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've said it before. I'm very biased towards Jasper and the family. I just am. You know what he did the other day that I loved? I think I mentioned it on Monday. I can't remember much about Monday's show because I wasn't feeling well. I love the fact that he came in, and you know how they say, get comfortable, warm up a little bit. Don't just get in and shoot right away. Jimmy, we've all heard this many, many times. What did he do? There was an open shot, so he took it. It was a 3, and he buried it. I thought that took a lot of guts. I think this kid has a lot of confidence, and I think he just needs to do one thing, PLAY. I'm not saying he's going to be the best point guard in the conference. I'm not saying he's going to be the best point guard that Kentucky has had in the last 20 years. No. I am saying that I sincerely believe that he has the possibility with enough minutes, let me repeat, with enough minutes to improve as much as Marino has this year. I really do. Now, he's not going to get Marino minutes. There's no question about that. Well, no, there is a question. Let's say it's highly unlikely unless he forces his way in, which would be another lineup change. And I hope Pope is open to lineup changes when it's warranted. And I also get the fact that at times Pope is like a lot of coaches. He will stay with a person longer, not trying to ruin their confidence, also giving yourself some leeway that if you're in a slump. And then what you do and I do, and we all do, we basically say, enough. I'm a huge Chandler fan. I really am. And I still think he's a year away. I don't think he's strong enough. I mean, come on, 2 years in the mission, and they were very smart with him last year. They didn't really push him because that's a great way to get soft tissue injuries when you haven't done squat for 2 years. I thought from what I learned of what they did, I thought they were really smart. I don't think he's strong enough yet. And I think in another offseason of lifting and stuff like that, I think next year he can be much, much, much better. That's me, and I could be wrong. He's got to learn how to create off the dribble better. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If it's me, when Reed Shepherd is in town before he goes back to Houston to work out and stuff like that, if it's me, and Shepherd would do it in 2 seconds, and I'm Colin, they should work out together. And whatever dribbling drills that Reed Shepherd does, Colin needs to do. Because the ability of Reed to create for himself off the dribble has improved exponentially. And I stand by this. I don't know if there are many, if any. I'm not saying in all the NBA. Come on, he's not a Curry, but let's not get stupid here. But for guys under 25, he is one of the best in the NBA at using the dribble to create space, and then he can just jump over people. But he couldn't do this in his rookie year, and he did a little bit here. Not a lot compared to what I've seen in the clips. He's doing some stuff in the clips he just never did before because he works on his game. The other thing, he looks like a cornerback or actually like a strong safety with the pipes he has on now. I'm serious. Pope, if one of your people are listening, no, they're not. They just got on a plane, but they should be listening and taking my advice. I couldn't be more serious. They should work out together. I think it'd be great. Not good, but great for Chandler. So Jasper Johnson, according to Evan Miyakawa, is the number one offensive player on Kentucky. I wonder how many people are saying, who the hell is Evan Miyakawa, even though he's been on our show many times. I wonder. Philo. Now, this is going to sound awful. And I want to be careful how I say this. Jimmy, I think it was pretty obvious that I thought a long time ago he should have his surgery, even though I didn't look at his x-rays. I'm not a doctor, but as I've said, I've had 2 total reconstructive shoulder surgeries, and I think I know something about shoulders. Was it pretty obvious from the get-go? I said I thought he should take care of whatever it was and get himself ready, even if it wasn't for next season. Did I make that clear how many times?
Yeah, it was quite a bit, knowing that the inevitable is going to happen.
I mean, shoulders to shoulders. Once they start popping out, you got to get it. You just got to get it back. And I hope like heck, and I know nothing, that he's got no tear in his meniscus. He's got no labrum tear. Excuse me, I said meniscus, knee. He's got no labrum tear or anything. I don't have any idea. I'm not starting any rumors, but you wonder and you hope it's not anything else. And you hope it can be done arthroscopically. Because there's a big difference between really cutting you open and arthroscopically when they just put a couple pins in. My second surgery, they did arthroscopically. The first one, Jimmy, I got a nice zebra, like a lot of people do. You know, the sad part is I wish I could have said, well, I was such a great athlete and it happened because of this. No, I got hit head on in a car accident and I'm lucky to be alive, but which I thank God many times for that. And I have to keep on doing it, neither here nor there. So I hope it's just a dislocation. And the reason why I'm not going to use the word happy. The reason why I feel better about Lowe today is that he's closer to getting back on the court, that this is not going to drag out anymore. And I was concerned without knowing everything that was wrong with his shoulder. I was really concerned about how long it would take for him to get back. I was also really concerned, and I said it many times, if it keeps on popping out, you can only make it worse. You can only make it worse. And so, I don't know, he's going to have the surgery today, tomorrow, whatever. Oftentimes now they want the swelling to go down if he's got whatever. You would think within a week to 10 days he's going to have the surgery. And the rehab sucks. It just sucks. My only advice to him is when you're done with the rehab, keep on doing it. And hopefully his is nothing like mine. But it's been decades since I had it done, and I'm still doing the rehab. But mine, hopefully, was much, much, much worse than his. So anyway, I'm glad there's a finality. And I would imagine this kid will work his tail off to get back. I would. But if you think about it, it's a shoulder, okay? February, March, April, May, June, July. When the kids come back, you would hope, again, I don't know the seriousness of the potential surgery, but that's 6 months. And I would be surprised if he's 100% before 6 months. The point is, when the guys come back this summer, that he would be 100%. He would be 100%. That's what he needs to do, and to get stronger. And the cloud hanging over him and the cloud hanging over the program has changed. Now, as far as JQ is concerned, I don't have any idea. I know what I would do when he's able to play. He would be the backup to Marino. Because if he doesn't have any more swelling, I don't know why you need to play him 28, 30 minutes a game. I think you might have to be a little more cautious. I think the possibility, and this has happened before, once you have some swelling on the knee, the odds of it happening again are actually pretty good from what I understand. So, he not only had the ripped knee, but he had a broken bone, and he came back early. And so what's happened to him, if it is exactly what they said, I'm not calling anybody liars, but oftentimes they don't tell you everything. I'm not ripping him for that. It's just the way it is. To me, he should play in spurts. Plus, Marino was spectacular the other day. He wasn't good. He was spectacular. I think he's only going to get better. Jimmy, how much better is he going to be when he gets stronger? And he's much stronger than he was last year, as I keep on saying that. But his hands, so when he catches the ball with two hands, nobody can lock it loose. Oh, my goodness. He plays like a big man. There's not enough of that these days in basketball. Around the bucket, boom, he's got a feel and moving and stuff like that. Well, let's put it this way. I expect him to be even better by March. I expect Jasper Johnson to be better by March. I really do. I really do. I want to make a quick comment about Indiana. I guessed this, but I didn't know it was this strong. Indiana is one of the oldest teams in history. And it's even more than I thought. Jimmy, tell me if this surprises you. They have 47 players between the ages of 22 and 25. Honestly, I would have guessed 15 to 20. And it wouldn't surprise me if there were other schools that have between 15 and 20. Would it surprise you?
No.
What's going on? Now, how many teams in the National Football League?
32.
Okay. Tell me if you like this one. As a comparison, the NFL has 140 players that are only 21 or 22. By the way, you know what Indiana's doing? Let's say you're an outside linebacker. I don't know all the positions, don't care to know, whatever. They're bringing in people, even if you might be coming back, if they can get somebody good. He's saying, you know what? Keep on working, son. I'm going to replace you. Or guess what? We'll move somebody, and you're not going to be comfortable around me. Not going to be comfortable around me. Not going to be comfortable at all. Has anybody talked about how this could be? I'm not going to say it's going to be Alabama and Saban. Ooh, no. Is it possible 5-6 years from now, Jimmy, we're saying that Indiana's a blue blood in football?
The way it's going, I mean, 2 years, and this is everyone laughed at him when he said, Google me, when he first got there. And all he's done is back it up.
By the way, I've hinted at this before, and somebody who is much closer, well, I'm not close to it all, but let's say is very close to Indiana, has told me what I guessed on the air one time, which is a lot of his veracity and stuff that he says, that it makes him look like he's this tough guy all the time, or the second coming of Nick Saban, and he gets a lot of that from his father. Yes, I think Nick helped a lot, but I think he had that going into Alabama, places he'd been, and his training from his dad, who, by the way, was a hell of a coach. You know, just because you didn't coach at Ohio State or whatever doesn't mean you're not a hell of a coach. Jimmy, you've heard me say a million times, there's all kinds of wonderful and great coaches on lower levels, and I'm not backing down from that. They just didn't get the opportunity, or they like where they lived, or whatever. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. But I think it's possible 5 years from now, we call Indiana blue blood. And as I've been saying a number of times, there's no question in my mind the term blue blood is changing. It is. It is. Because let's put it this way. Indiana's facilities sucked. They were an afterthought in recruiting. They now have Cuban money, Mark Cuban, and Mellencamp money. They got plenty of money. And Cuban, whatever it was, wrote a much bigger check. He went to school there. And it's going to surprise me if Indiana over the next 5 years, I'm not saying they're going to have the best facilities in the country, but they had dog poop facilities, the way I understand it. I bet they're going to have very, very, very good facilities over the next 5 years and change. And it's going to be, it is already a destination place. There were two kids, I didn't know who the hell they were, Jimmy, who were supposed to go to one place, and then they decided to go to Indiana and the portal and stuff like that. And their comment was, this is the place for me to go, where the expectations are high and they're tough and they're disciplined. And I need that. They didn't say it, but they're saying I need that because I want to go to the NFL. See, there's a fine line. There are some players who take the money and get lazy. There's no question about it. And if you're ripping them, trust me, there are a lot of adults who would get the money and get lazy. So seriously, when you're ripping kids, look in the mirror. There are plenty of adults who would get a bunch of money and then get lazy. And if you don't think so, we're going to disagree, and that's fine. But there are also plenty of kids who get the money and they want more, and they get a taste. And they say, okay, this is great, but I want to play in the National Football League where there's more money. And so I think that's the part of some of these kids that gets overlooked. There's a stereotype that drives me nuts, and I think it's a bunch of BS. It's just about the money, and as soon as you give these kids money, they just, they get soft. In some cases, absolutely. Probably in many cases, okay? But what makes that difference from a 40-year-old? Think about it. What makes the difference from a 40-year-old? And Jimmy, you've seen the numbers, and I don't know what the hell they are, but the people that win the lottery,
yeah,
the percentage of people that are broke after 5 years.
What about just pro athletes? They had the whole thing on ESPN, broke, about basketball players. It's the same thing.
Crazy. I remember Dermontti Dawson years ago when he was playing for the Steelers, told me one time, and when he said it, I looked at him like, what? Now, this is obviously a long time ago. In the Hall of Fame, been retired a long time. I'm going to guess it was 20 years ago. I don't know, but probably around 20 years ago. And what he would do, he had this pickup truck, and he was really cheap in a really good way. He had this pickup truck that when the game was over in Pittsburgh, he would get in his shower, get in his car, and drive to Lexington because he didn't have to be back in Pittsburgh until Tuesday practice. So he would get home Sunday night late, right? And he would get up super early Tuesday and drive back to Pittsburgh so he could spend time with his family, which I always respected. And he had a little pickup truck that he drove the blank out of it. And at the time, I don't remember the amount of miles, but it was way past 100,000. And I was teasing him, what? You got all the money you make. Why don't you get a new truck? He goes, it runs just fine. That's not how my mom and dad brought me up. His mom and dad had a laundromat business, and he had to learn to fix the machines, Jimmy, and that kind of stuff. He was really brought up the right way. So it doesn't matter to have money. The point is, he told me, he said, Cutler, you wouldn't believe all the players in our locker room that are literally living paycheck to paycheck. This is the NFL, living paycheck to paycheck. That's nuts. That's just nuts. It's goofy. By the way, if you've heard of him, great. Carson Groover, Gruver. I never heard of him until I saw his name. I'll bet you $1,000 you never heard of him.
No.
He's the quarterback at Florida Atlantic. He's a PWO. That's a preferred walk-on. You know what I really like about this kid? I have no idea if he can play. He's not being brought in to be a starting quarterback. He's not being brought up to be the backup quarterback. They want more people in the quarterback room. He used the word grateful to be joining UK football as a transfer quarterback, parentheses, PWO. And then he says, thank you to the coaches. This kid has already become one of my favorites. He used the word grateful, right? He's coming here. I'm going to guess, let's say Stein is the coach here for 10 years. Would that be a lot of presumption on my part? But if Stein is the coach for about 10 years, I'm going to guess he's going to bring in quarterbacks who will basically never play, who actually have some talent and could play on a lower level of college football, but they're here because they want to coach. Now, I have no idea if this kid wants to coach. Wouldn't surprise me. I think it's wonderful. You got a kid who's going to be a preferred walk-on. Do the preferred walk-ons get to eat with the regular players? That changed, didn't it? I think it changed. I need to check that out. Let's flip to Aaron Rodgers. We get 12:25. I think we can get this in. I like this a ton. I actually felt bad for Aaron Rodgers last night. Jimmy, you watched the game, didn't you?
Yeah.
His offensive line sucked, one, and Houston's defensive line is great. And his wideouts, DJ Metcalf is a shadow of his former self. He has very mediocre running backs. He's got crappy wideouts, and they don't have very good tight ends. Do you disagree with any of that?
I think it's more of just the way the offensive scheme is. They have some talent there. Like Jonnu Smith is a solid tight end. Freiermuth is solid. But I would end it there where they just have good skill players, but no one that takes that extra level. That's what Metcalf should have been.
I think he's just long in the tooth, and I wonder if he got soft getting the money. I'm not being a hypocrite here, but it seems like he's not the player he was before. I don't know if it's banged up, whatever. I'll slightly disagree with the tight ends. I think they're both servable backups. I don't think they're star tight ends. I think if he had a star tight, you know what's interesting? How the hell did the Rams get all those really good tight ends?
They got 3 of them.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. If Rodgers had 2 of those 3, he'd be a much better quarterback. 84, I can't think of his name, who made that great catch in the corner of the end zone on the perfect throw by Stafford. It was a freaking perfect throw.
Parkinson.
Oh, my gosh. First of all, to go up and twist like that for a man that big is spectacular, but I think the pass was better than the catch. I mean, he had no other room to put it. He put it exactly there. Rodgers says nobody can do that, right? So you might think this is nuts. I actually think if he was on a team that had a good line and a good set of receivers and a good tight end or 2 and some decent running backs, I actually think he can still play. He had no time last night. Did you see him have any time to do anything?
No.
Now, he can't run like he used to. Okay. But he's still not afraid of running. There was a play the other day that was funny. Normally, he would have gotten the first down, but the defensive lineman caught up to him. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He was running hard. Pounding like couldn't go anywhere. And then there was another one where there was a gap you could run through, and he saw it and he ran because it was the right thing to do. I don't know. I don't think he's washed up. Do you?
I think, like you said, if he was on a better situation, but he's also at that point, there aren't those good situations that he can just fall into. And that's the situation he's in, is there a team out there with great skill players that needs a quarterback? Like I can't think of one that he would go to. I feel like if he comes back, it would probably be with Pittsburgh, and they're in the same boat next year. Kenneth Gainwell is one of their running backs. He is one. He's very good. But again, he's like a Swiss Army knife. He's not an elite receiver. He's just kind of a do-it-all guy.
To me, he'd be a really, really good backup. I think he's a really nice running back, but I don't think he's elite.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Rodgers, and I couldn't agree with this more. I think Mike Tomlin's problem is that who's ever been drafting the players for the Steelers, they just haven't done a good job. They just haven't. And they haven't done a great job in free agencies. But that's me. And the thought of all the crap that Tomlin takes is ridiculous. And I think people know that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't say this if he didn't mean it. Jimmy, can you think of another player in the National Football League who's more open, more no filter with his comments? Anybody playing today that's close to him?
No, it is Rodgers.
Do you think for a second Rodgers throws out compliments when he doesn't mean it?
No. No.
So you agree with me. When you hear this, I bet it gives – see, there's some people don't like him. They don't give him any kudos for credibility. And that just ticks me off to no end. If I don't like somebody, that doesn't mean I can't not like some of the things they do. I might dislike some and like other things. When we did our book, Cut to the Chase, Dr. John Wall kept on saying, you can see the good and bad in the same person. And would always drive me crazy. If you don't like someone, therefore, everything is bad. You're tainted with your decisions. And I had to work really hard on that, by the way. And what helped me was TV, because as a reporter, do you think everybody I talked to I liked? No, that's not the real world. But I made sure in my mind and was conscious of it, be fair, be fair, be fair, be fair, be fair. Does that mean I was perfect? No. Do I think it helped me tremendously? I really do. Because my fair meter to me was a very important part of what I did. It's actually really proud of it. But I had to remind myself of it. Well, here's Aaron Rodgers talking about coaches. And this is a bullseye. Here it is.
I mean, this league has changed a lot in my 21 years. When you hear a conversation about the Mike Tomlins of the world, Matt LaFleur's of the world, those are just two that kind of I played for. And when I first got in the league, there wouldn't be conversation about whether those guys were on the hot seat, but the way that the league is covered now and the way that there's snap decisions and the validity given to the Twitter experts and all the, experts on TV now who make it seem like they know what the hell they're talking about. To me, that's an absolute joke. And for either of those two guys to be on the hot seat is really apropos of where we're at as a society and a league, because obviously Matt's done a lot of great things in Green Bay and we had a lot of success. Mike T's had more success than damn near anybody in the league, for the last 19, 20 years. And more than that, when you have the right guy and the culture is right, you don't think about making a change. But there's a lot of pressure that comes from the outside, and obviously that sways decisions from time to time, but it's not how I would do things and not how the league used to be.
Jimmy, I'm not going to say I love that soundbite. I really love that soundbite. I think that amplifies the NFL. You notice there once was a heavyset coach at Green Bay who might be coming back in the NFL as a coach, and he didn't mention his name? Now, it might be because he's not on the hot seat. I don't think they liked each other very much. I don't think he respected very much. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an accident, and he's going to get back in the league. I don't know if he's a good coach or not. He's won a lot of games and stuff like that, but I don't know if you read Rodgers' book. I listened to it, but it was pretty obvious he was not a fan of his offense, which is supposed to be his expertise. Neither here nor there. I mean, come on. The Green Bay coach, and they're working on extending him. If he was out of a job, how quickly would his agent get calls from 5 teams?
Oh, yeah.
Within 10 minutes?
That's being friendly. It's probably within 2 minutes he'd be flooded.
I think he's
not with every team, but yeah, like you said, 5-6 teams.
He's a big time head coach. You know what else he did the other day, which I thought was great? One of the reporters asked him, what about your future? And he quietly said, I think it was Brad. I don't know who the hell it was, but he calmly said, "Hey, Brad, I get that you're asking me that question. Now's not the time. But he did it in a very non-threatening tone of voice. Instead of being a jerk, like a lot of coaches say, "Don't ask me that now. I don't want to deal with it." No, he was just very matter of fact. There was no negative tone of voice. Hey, I get you have to ask a question, but it's not for today. I love the answer. Treat people with respect. Respect the fact that the reporter has to ask the question. And the reporter asked the question with respect how he did it. And the coach responded with respect. Obviously, he was one of the beat reporters. He's around all the time. And the coach is showing respect back. I loved it. There's a time reporters can be jerks. Okay, there are times coaches can be jerks. Okay. But LaFleur's response was beautiful. It was just beautiful. I'll tell you what can be beautiful too. Quantrell Subaru. From the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged clefts of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in the Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for. You can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, get 000. That's right, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outbacks through February 2nd. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Hey, don't forget about their Cadillacs, first class, and we have the XC60, the Volvo hybrid, which we love. We've now had 3 cars from Quantrell, and I got to figure it out, 12, 13 years, whatever it is, way before doing this radio show. We went back to him having nothing to do with the radio show because we were already doing it. I trust them. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details. Brandon Ramsey, smart basketball guy, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank, time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Really quick, breaking news. We're going to hit a bunch of home runs in Arizona. Nolan Arenado, not the player he was 5 years ago, but still, he's a vacuum cleaner at third base, goes to Arizona. There were a whole bunch of trades over the last 3 or 4 years that St. Louis tried to make where he had this no trade clause. He goes, no, not going. It's a really good move by Arizona, especially he doesn't have to be the guy. I'll tell you somebody who is the guy. Brandon Ramsey is the guy. Brandon Ramsey, KSR guru, basketball dude who analyzes basketball games like a coach. Oh, he was a coach. Hello, Brandon Ramsey. How the heck are you?
I'm doing well, Alan. Thanks for having me on again.
No, thank you. So, this almost means nothing to me tonight, but excuse me. They're so close. Let me just run it down. Points per game, LSU. All right, they scored 2 more points. Who gives a rat's? Rebounds, exactly the same, 39. Assists, Kentucky has 2 more per game at 17-8, which is still isn't great, but the cupcakes had helped Kentucky out with that. Blocks per game, they both have 4. Okay, one's 4-4 Kentucky, one's 4-6. Big deal. Steals, Kentucky has almost 8. 6 for LSU. Turnovers, LSU 1 more turnover, 11-10. Field goal percentage, 48% for Kentucky, 49.9. And 50% for LSU is actually better than I would have expected looking at their kids first. 3-point percentage, they both stink. 33.8 for Kentucky, 33.2. You agree 33 stinks, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, because you gave me a funny look. Free throw percentage. I'm just a hard old school butt about this. Kentucky's at 73.6%. Let's say 74, and I think that stinks. It's not, yeah, I just do. I just do. And some people won't bother them, but I'll never forget Nazir Muhammad went 0 for 6 against Arizona, and they lost the national championship in overtime. Had he made 3, it wouldn't have gone over. I'm not blaming Nazir. I love Nazir. Nazir was my favorite players, but, you can make a case, go look at the numbers that a couple free throw problems might have cost Kentucky not 1 but 2 national championships. I'm just saying, numbers are numbers, okay? Assist to turnover ratio, it's about the same. 1.7 at Kentucky. I wish it was lower. 1.4 for LSU. So the game is at LSU, okay? LSU is 0 for 3 in league play. I'm surprised Matt McMahon has survived, but that's me. I'm curious your thought on that. And Kentucky finally won their first SEC games. As you know, they're 10-6. So these numbers are so close, it doesn't mean squat for me. Yes?
I agree. And now you also have 2 teams without their playmaker, their starting point guard, with obviously the news of Jalen Lowe being out, Deaton Thomas Jr., one of the elite playmakers, honestly, in college basketball before he got hurt a few games ago, had been leading LSU. He averages like 7 assists per game. Part of the reason for their struggles in SEC play, that they've turned it over a lot more. They've had a harder time playmaking. Kentucky fans know what it's like without your PG1 at times, and LSU's been without him for a few games. It seems like that's still going to be the case tomorrow. I think he might return over the weekend, but if he does play on Wednesday, probably still limited for LSU. So just something to monitor in terms of coming in to Baton Rouge tomorrow night. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to differentiate these teams statistically right now. Obviously, that is something that Kentucky fans didn't expect to be the case before the season, but that's where we find ourselves here on the middle of January. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow night.
Sorry for stepping on you, but to amplify what you said, he also leads LSU in scoring at 16
right,
7 assists. So I think if Kentucky plays the way they played the other night, they can go on the road and beat LSU. It doesn't guarantee it. They could step up. But, if Thomas is 100%, I'm with you. It's a totally different team. And I think he's one of those guys who's one of the better players in the league that gets no publicity.
Absolutely. And I think, part of that's because obviously LSU hasn't been an outstanding team historically or right now. And especially with him being out now as SEC play gets going, I think there's a lot of fans, quite frankly, that probably have forgotten that he's at LSU. And until he comes back, that'll probably be the case. But yeah, he would be a game changer for LSU if he doesn't go. I still think, quite frankly, I think Kentucky's the better team. I think it's a game that they should win. It's hard to say that anytime you go on the road in the SEC, but this isn't the same conference that it was last year. Still very, very good, but there are a lot more teams where you can legitimately say, even on the road, that you probably should win these games. And quite frankly, Kentucky's in a position where you really need to win these games now because you lost at home to Missouri. Like, you need to go on the road and beat LSU down there. You're going to end up going to South Carolina later in the season. You're going to go to Texas A&M later in the season. Some teams that are ranked outside of the top 40 or so in KenPom. Like, those are games you really need to win on the road, especially since you left yourself really no margin for error with the late game collapse against Missouri.
You've dealt with Evan Miyakawa much?
Yeah, we him and I talked via direct messages online, and he's actually he's a Taylor University graduate, which is here in Indiana, NAIA school, same school that Chris Holtman went to. Fun fact.
Chris Holtman from Jessamine County High. I covered him in.
There we go. Absolutely.
He would throw lob passes to a guy named Keith Keel, who went to Ole Miss.
Okay.
They were really, really good back in the day. Now it makes sense. He's moving to Indiana, so he's done the show a number of times. He said up in February after I move and stuff like that. Okay, I think he's really good. Yep. So I was setting you up. I don't know if you saw this. I'm guessing, knowing you probably have. And the way I interpret this, it doesn't matter if you play 10 minutes a game or 30 minutes a game. It's all crunched in the computer based upon what you do per minutes, not per minutes per game. According to Evan Miyakawa, Jasper is Kentucky's best offensive player, a very creative offensive player with a lot of potential, so says Evan. Brandon Ramsey, your reaction, what say you?
He certainly has the potential to do that, and I'm not going to go against Evan's numbers because he, like you said, he does do a really good job. I think some of that probably at this point can still be skewed by a couple of things. One, small sample size, and I'm sure that there's nobody that understands sample sizes better than a PhD in statistics like Evan is. But it's a small sample size, and you have some bigger outputs, especially assist-wise, against some of the weaker opponents on Kentucky's schedule. But I think probably some of that's even baked in to Evan's numbers. So when you look at it, the guy's shooting a really high percentage from three-point range for a team that's struggling to make threes, and his assist numbers are really high for a team that is struggling to make plays. So it's hard to argue right now, especially when you can kind of go ahead and move on from Jalen Lowe. Not that we wanted to do that, but now at least you can, and you know what you're facing going forward. I think that leaning into Jasper Johnson and finding out what you have in a guy that we all know he's super, super talented with the ball in his hands. Does he need to rein in the decision making? Does he need to get better defensively, get stronger? All those things. We all know that as well. But for a team that needs some playmaking, that needs some shot making, and then looking at Evan's numbers, yeah, I'm very open to seeing what you can get, kind of handing the keys to the car a little bit more to Jasper Johnson.
And plus, most of Jasper's minutes came against the weaker competition.
Yeah, it did.
And I'm not knocking Jasper. It just honestly is what it is. I got to stop for a second. So I just mentioned before you came on that Nolan Arenado is going to Arizona, which will help Arizona. He's not the same player he was, but wouldn't surprise me. It's 25 home runs and he's a glove at third base. This to me drives me out of my mind. I literally out of my mind. Is he a cancer in the locker room? No. Is he a good dude? Yes. So I assumed that they were paying, some of the contract that was left over to pay it down. Otherwise, Arizona, he's got $42 million left. Arizona's not going to spend $21 million a year for Arenado. I know him off the topic. Drives me out of my mind. They are paying 31 of the $42 million. That means you want to get rid of the guy. Seriously, you want to get rid of the guy. So if your third baseman costs you, let's say $5 million a year, and he's not better than Arenado, you just hurt your team.
Yeah.
There could always be something here I don't see. I get that because you don't know everything. But the guy has a good reputation. He's a glove at third base. In other words, if they pay $10 million, okay, you're saving $30 million. If they pay $20 million, okay, you're saving $10 million a year. And they'll probably put somebody at third base that wouldn't be as expensive, not as good defensively. There's no freaking way. The odds are overwhelming. They're not going to. This stuff. What is wrong with these people? You are dumping a guy who's supposed to be a good dude, who's a vacuum cleaner, and you're paying $31 million to get rid of him.
Honestly, well, it's funny when you first said that. I assumed that you were saying Arizona was paying the $31 million, and then the context as you went forward, I realized, oh shoot, no, the St. Louis is paying the $31 million. Yes, that seems insane because, like you said, that pretty much. I mean, unless they have a rabbit they're about to pull out of their hat and sign somebody I'm not aware that they're going to sign. Man, yeah, that seems like you kind of wanted them gone, and I just don't know who you're going to get that would make that seem logical.
Like, get out of here. Now, they've been dumping veterans and saving money. I don't know. Saving money. I'm sorry. I love baseball. And I look at this and I'm going, what kind of tension was in their front office that made them do this? Like if they paid half. Okay. Back to basketball. Sorry but yeah, I shouldn't be smarter than these people. If I will, well, I was going to ask Hal McCoy to come on next week anyway, but he would have a very sarcastic comment, my Hall of Fame friend, about this, how stupid it is. How stupid it is. Actually, you want to know something? Well, the Reds got Hayes and he can't bat at all, but that's actually, you could have Arenado in Cincinnati where he'd hit more home runs for cheaper. Nah, it wouldn't be cheaper. Yeah, it would be cheaper than Hayes. You got to know how to make deals. Okay. Stop it, Cutler. Let's go back to basketball. Brandon Ramsey is kind enough to be your guest. Stop it. Okay, with Lowe. And I wanted to be careful when I said this. It's terrible what happened to him. Duh. But in a way, since I wanted him to get fixed right away without me seeing the x-rays, but I've had 2 total reconstructive shoulder surgeries, so I'm an expert on shoulders. I'm not a doctor. Don't play one on TV. But when you dislocate something, it doesn't heal fast, and when it falls out, when it looked like it'd be light touches that normally wouldn't bother anybody, there's an issue. I believe, and I could be wrong. If somebody from UK want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm not, by the way, that they told him right away he needed surgery, and I respect the kid wanted to play. I do. But enough is enough. I'm sorry he had the problem. My thing is always about the kid, and I don't know how extensive the surgery is. I don't know how long the rehab is. Hopefully it's nothing like what I had. But I want this kid healthy for next year. And I believe if you started doing the surgery in April, May, June, July, that's 3 months. When the kids are coming back on campus and stuff like that, that ain't a lot of time to get 100% again. And now would he have to do something like Owe, who hurt himself and then really didn't play basketball for a long time this summer? So I think it's good in an awful situation that they're moving forward to get this kid healthy again. I think it's a smart thing to do because now I'm thinking, okay, if he's not 100% and probably stronger with the rehab and legs and shoulder stuff like that, by next year, that would be strange. So that this kid will be 100% next year, I think it's a smart thing to do. You got to just move on.
Well, I think, too, that there's something to be said again. We all know that we're prefacing this by saying we wish he was healthy to begin with. And, nobody's rooting for this to happen, even anything in that realm. But there is something to be said, too, for being able to move forward and being able to know that, hey, okay, we're going to lean on Jasper Johnson more, or this is what we're going to look like offensively, instead of kind of always playing the game of, well, Jalen Lowe's probably not practicing a ton, but now we have to play a certain way because we want to get him involved in ball screens, all these different things. Like now you at least know, it doesn't make you better, but you at least can kind of really focus in on what the rest of your season is going to look like with the guys that you have. Your guys are able to practice every day. They're able to play. They know what their roles are going to look like on a game-to-game basis, as opposed to kind of always looking back and being like, well, are we going to get 10 minutes from Jalen Lowe? Are we going to get 30 minutes from Jalen Lowe? What's his practice status going to be like today? I do think that there can be some positives from that side of things going forward, just in terms of establishing some roles, establishing some continuity, establishing your identity offensively moving forward, now that you can really hone in on what it's going to be and not always kind of playing the game of Jalen Lowe in, out, what's he going to be.
By the way, you mentioned Jasper Johnson being a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's averaging 38.6%, better than any starter. And I think always probably doing better than a lot of fans think. I'm not saying he's a great 3-point shooter, but he's shooting 36.7. Okay, and I think you came up with a stat, when he's wide open like a lot of guys, his numbers are much higher than when he kind of creates the three, which I don't think very good when he creates a three. But when he's sitting on the baseline and he shoots, he's pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, even looking at his career numbers, going back to Oklahoma, last year at Kentucky, if you look at the synergy stats, which differentiate catch and shoot threes from off the dribble threes, his catch and shoot 3-point percentage is like 37-38%. It's good. Like you want Otega Owe to shoot open catch and shoot threes. Now the ones that he shoots off of the ball screen or where he's dribbling, much lower percentage. That's literally like in the 20s for his career. But when he has his feet set, when he can have some time to catch and shoot, it is a high percentage shot for Kentucky for Otega Owe to take open catch and shoot threes. Absolutely.
Now, Brandon Ramsey Pope hinted that Cam Williams would be starting on his coach's show last night. Last week, I said I'd be starting him and he'd be playing till his tongue hung out. That's me. Okay. And the fact that he put the ball on the floor, and the first time he did it, I'm saying to myself, where the blank did this come from? Because not only did he do it, but he looked really smooth doing it. And so, to the people early on, and you saw this in social media, the guy can't play here. He shot over 40% of Tulane. He's a stiff. People were pretty damn nasty to him. And I kept on going on the air saying, I don't know if he's going to shoot 41% here, but give the kid some time. I don't like his game. I love his game. I think he has all SEC, not this year, all SEC second to 13 potential next year. He had 14 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 threes, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. And his defense is pretty damn good, by the way, which will only get better. And every time I see him on the court, it seems like he's getting taller. It just seems that way. Most guys aren't as tall as he looks taller. And if he's just now starting to put the ball on the floor, he spreads the floor. Is there anybody else on this team that can spread the floor the way he can?
No, I absolutely not. And I think we've seen a really strong progression for Cam Williams throughout this season. Like we pretty quickly, even while he was struggling from 3-point range, he was impressing us with his defense. He was 6'8", he was long, he was making guys miss, he moves his feet really well, he's active defensively, and now he's really established himself as one of Kentucky's best defenders. Well, then against Bellarmine, he had his breakout from 3-point range, and he's kind of kept that going. Now he's 35.5% from three. Is it what he was last year at Tulane? No, but it's starting to be pretty darn good. So now you're adding that to his game. Already a good defender. Now he's making threes like we expected. And then as you start making threes, and we saw this in Mississippi State, the way they were really overplaying him on the perimeter, and he was having to back cut. That's what opened up a lot of those baseline drives for Otega Owe and different guys, and also his own drives to the basket. Like as he makes more threes, those closeouts are going to get more aggressive. They're going to get tighter to him on the perimeter. Now all of a sudden he has that confidence, again, with being 6'8", athletic, 2 or 3 dribbles to the basket, get up there and finish. When you add that to his game, that's where you really start to see what you talked about, that future All-SEC player, that future NBA prospect. I think as you continue to add these layers to Cam Williams' game, you absolutely have to continue playing him more and more, because he is what Kentucky needs. You need that floor spacer on the floor, and he's one of the few guys that really provide that at a high level for this team.
If there isn't many, who would you say is the best athlete on this basketball team?
It's hard to not say Otega Oweh. I mean, some of the things he can do end to end with his quickness, in a straight line with his athleticism. He changes direction really well at the end of some of his drives. He's probably the best athlete. I mean, honestly, Colin Chandler might be the best like vertical leaper of the group. But I mean, just in terms of fluidity, man, like Cam Williams is fluid when he's driving to the basket. The way he moves his feet defensively, he's definitely up there in that conversation among the best pure athletes on this team.
Yeah, I agree.
Really quick jumper too. Like he gets off the floor in a hurry.
Yeah, there's jumping and there's quick jumping. Quick jumping and you jump high. It's two different things. I'm throwing a wild one your way. I figured this is a tough one for you to know, but it wouldn't surprise me if you do because it's you. Okay. Jared Prickett's son, named Jagger, 6'3", in the class of 2028, recently had a triple-double. 13 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, which means he shoots much better than his dad. He's better passing than his dad. His dad was a really good rebounder. He was a really good player. But have you ever seen him?
I have not. No. That's a new one for me. I actually hadn't even seen the triple-double yet. But
doing to stump you, but I do know this because I know you. The next time you grace us with your time, I bet you have a full report.
I will probably be watching him in the next couple hours now.
And by the way, looking at him, he's skinny as a rail, which, I'm going to guess that his dad in high school at that age was probably skinny as a rail. He's got in the next 2 years, he's going to put on a lot of weight. But, 13, 11, and 11?
It's pretty good. He's 2028. That's a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm throwing out of left field. So if you know this, I'm going to be surprised. But if not, you're going to give me a full report. I'm sorry for doing this to you. But you know how because you know a million players, but why know this kid? Have you ever seen Jake Feldhaus?
Yes, I actually have seen Feldhaus play.
Okay.
Yeah, in some AAU stuff over the summer.
Okay. What do you honestly don't hype it up because he's a Feldhaus and I love the family. I really do. It's Darren's son, and what they did was his ex-wife, I'm not speaking out of turn here, which I thought it shows you how well they get along, moved to Richmond so that he could play for Allen, their brother, who is as good as any coach in the state of Kentucky of the last 30 years. I love Allen as a coach. You put Billy Hicks, Allen, maybe a couple of the people in the same boat. He's strong, right? It's a much better shooter than his dad, right? Can pass. He's going to Belmont. Is that the right level for him?
I think so. And above all else, like the way Belmont plays, I was actually I went to a Belmont game earlier this year. I've been to a couple over the years because they have some Indiana guys.
Into a Belmont game.
Yeah. They have a couple kids from Indiana that I'm more familiar with that honestly are a lot like Jake in terms of that like 6'7", 6'8" build that can step out and shoot it a little bit. He fits that style of play because it's not completely dissimilar to the way Bellarmine plays. Just quite frankly, Belmont's a little bit higher level right now than where Bellarmine is. So yeah, I think he's going to really excel there with his size and he's another pretty fluid athlete. He's strong and he's really, really skilled, especially away from the basket. So I think he's going to fit in really well there at Belmont. And he's the type of kid that, to me, that's the perfect fit for him out of high school. And then it's going to be one of those things that, like, if he goes there and really excels, will it shock me if he gets a chance to, move on and play somewhere else down the road? If he can be a 40% three-point shooter, different things as a sophomore or junior, that opportunity might come to him. But I think that right now that's a place that he can go and flourish pretty quickly.
Okay. I'm going to pin you to the wall. You okay with that?
Let's do it.
Okay. You're sure?
Yep.
No matter what I say to you now, you'll grant us to come back and do the show again?
Yes, I will.
Where am I coming from? Is he a better high school player than Noah?
Ooh, boy. I don't know about that. I mean,
basically, let me say something else. This is not number one, not a negative comment to Noah at all. Number two, if Noah goes to Belmont, I bet he could easily be their leading scorer. I actually really like his game. I don't know if his game is going to fit here. I don't know. Pope says there's a room for him and all that kind of stuff. And I, when Pope says those kinds of things, I absolutely tune it out because he says it about everybody, and it can't be true. And there's a lot of kids that come here, as you know, are hell of a basketball players, but they don't find clock. They don't find clock. That doesn't mean that Noah's not a really good I like his game a ton. And I think the games are kind of similar, except Feldhaus is stronger than he is. I don't know if you buy it that way or not. Yeah. But and Noah's a better shooter, but Feldhaus is stronger. Anyway, are they similar games? Is he the kind of kid that could walk on here or get a scholarship and probably not play?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why it is kind of a it's certainly not a crazy comparison because you look at Trent Noah. He was a kid that originally was committed to South Carolina, ends up at Kentucky, and quite frankly hasn't done a ton. He's had some good moments, but doesn't play it. And he's not even in the rotation right now. And a lot of times, guys that are just outside the rotation at Kentucky, they would be pretty good players at Belmont, and guys that are pretty good players at Belmont would be guys that are kind of fighting to be in the rotation at Kentucky. So yeah, it just on paper, the average fan might not see those as being pretty equal, but yeah, I think that a lot of times, like if Feldhaus goes to Belmont and plays as a freshman, it's not dissimilar to what Trent Noah did as a freshman at Kentucky, quite frankly.
I buy that, and I don't know what Belmont has, so this sounds kind of silly, but if they have any needs, it would not surprise me if he plays a lot next year.
I'm pretty confident that they're bringing him in with the thought that he can help them.
Anything else going on in basketball-wise we haven't touched about, Mr. Brandon Ramsey?
I don't think so. Big week coming up for Kentucky, obviously. Two road games. I think that if you can go on the road and win at LSU, then it kind of gives you the right to go see what happens down at Tennessee. If you lose that one on Wednesday, then it's going to be kind of a long wait for what might happen in Knoxville on Saturday. But I really hope that you can take care of business in Baton Rouge and then go take your shot at Tennessee on Saturday, because Kentucky just needs to stack some wins. You got to beat the teams that you're better than, and I think LSU is a team that you're better than. And then at some point you have to knock off some big dogs like Tennessee to improve the resume a little bit, but you got to earn that right by winning on Wednesday.
I thought Saturday was almost do or die for Kentucky.
It was. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't lose at home again like that. No.
And I think tonight isn't exactly do or die. It's a step below. But you have to beat LSU if you're going to have a really good record in the SEC. You got to steal some games on the road. You just have to steal some games on the road. And I think it's a huge setback if they go to 1-3. They go to 2-2, and they're feeling better about themselves going into Tennessee. Tennessee is not playing like a lot of people thought. That crap means nothing when Kentucky and Tennessee get together. You buy all that nonsense. It's true. I've been there where the fans are crazy and it's wild and it's tense, and Tennessee will have more intensity, and so will Kentucky. I'm not saying this is as big as Saturday, but it's step below.
Yeah, I mean it's probably just as meaningful. Like you can afford to lose quad one top 25 matchups on the road against teams like Tennessee. Like teams that win the SEC are going to lose at Tennessee this year. But like if you want to make the tournament, if you want to have any sort of a season like we expect at Kentucky, you need to go on the road and beat LSU.
Give yourself a great plug for everything you do, Brandon. I appreciate your time. I'd apologize for throwing all at you. It's not even my notes, but I think you know me well enough to know stuff just happens. And
that's what we do.
You handle it so well, and I expected it.
There we go. Yeah, no, I enjoy doing it. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at BRamseyKSR. All the written work goes on KentuckySportsRadio.com. Also have a YouTube show with Zach Gagan on the Kentucky Sports Radio YouTube channel. Had a new episode of that out yesterday. You can also subscribe to the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show on YouTube. And again, all that gets promoted on my Twitter at BRamseyKSR.
Good thing you're not busy.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be tough?
And I bet next time we talk, you'll know more about Jared Prickett than everybody but his father.
There we go. That's the goal.
Hey, bless you, brother. I appreciate you tremendously.
Absolutely. Anytime, Alan. Thank you.
Hey, Brandon Ramsey, great stuff. Great stuff. I really threw a couple curveballs at him off the cuff, and he handled it. It was really smooth, wasn't he?
Yeah, literally curveballs with bringing up baseball.
Well,
yeah, that too.
It's really good, Jimmy. You were one step ahead of me. I wasn't thinking of the curveballs. I was thinking, obviously, of Prickett and
yeah,
which you knew, but man, you smacked the you-know-what out of that. Terry Page, look at your smirk. Anybody watching it on YouTube? How do you watch this on YouTube? I never push it. I should. I don't know if we have 20 people watching on YouTube now, whatever it is.
ESPN Sports Lexington 1300.
I just really appreciate the fact all the people listening online, besides on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM, all the people listening online. That's become a lovely thing in all kinds of different places. I keep on saying this lady should never have an opening. Terry Page, she is spectacular. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Please use my name. A spectacular licensed massage therapist in Lexington Thursday and Friday, Butler, Kentucky. And she tells me not that far from Cincinnati. She's got some people driving down because she's worth it. Here in town on Regency Road. Check her out. Please use my name. Terry Page, 859-373-0578. Old friend Tommy Heights, who hasn't joined us in a long time, kind enough to join us. He's waiting, coming up next. Tommy Heights. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler from the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru. With legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for, you can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd, 2026. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details.
Baby, it's cold outside. Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
What? Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Yeah, I won't hang up until you tell me you love me.
All right, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods.
I feel the same. I've always thought you're absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
everything you said was absolutely 100% correct.
Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
They look like kittens more than wildcats, in my opinion.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Welcome back. And before Mark Pope came to town, I was starting my day meditating with gratitude. And I love the fact that Mark feels the same way. We've never talked about it because you don't get one-on-one time with Mark. So Kentucky plays LSU tonight. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to an old friend. Haven't talked to in a while. He's a very busy dude. I don't see Tom Heights. There he is. Tommy, you there? Tom, can you hear me? He's not responding at all.
I'm there. Can you hear me, Alan?
Yeah. What state are you in? Because I never know where.
No, I'm in Florida.
Okay. Do we have a bad connection?
All right, let me.
No, this is what we're going to do.
I don't know.
This is what we're going to do. Quick decision. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to call you on the phone. I don't like the connection. It's not going to get any better. Tom Height, next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381.
He hit this button where an actual live person came on the screen, and she was so kind and helpful, and it just made me feel like, wow, I'm not dealing with just a machine, I'm dealing with somebody that's actually paying attention to what I'm doing, and it made me feel really good.
And that's how Republic Bank helps their customers go from living to thriving. Learn more at republicbank.com. Member FDIC.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Pleased and honored to have let me tell you about Tommy. He was so progressive. He was doing cold plunges decades before they were popular. He's always been a very curious gentleman who does all kinds of things that are not popular at the time, but if he thinks it's right, he does it. I've always had a great deal of respect for him, part of the 84 Final Four team, and his misfortune was being on the same team with Melvin Turpin and Sam Bowie because he wasn't going to beat them out. But I have always said that if Tom played at other schools where there was an opening, he'd have been a hell of a center, a banger, mean, tough, whatever. He was really good, but when you play behind Turpin and Bowie, it's tough to get clocked. It's pretty simple. Tom, how the heck are you?
Doing well, and I have to tell you, if it wasn't for Tommy Heights, there wouldn't be no Bowie or Turpin. Just remember that. I was the guy behind the scenes making them the All-Americans they were back then.
You know, and that's a really good comment because for a lot of guys, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that your practice at times were your games because you got clocked every now and then, sometimes more games than others, that kind of stuff. And so the really smart players use, because you love the game, use practice as the game, and you were pushing Bowie and Turpin, so they couldn't lollygag, not that they would have anyway, but they didn't lollygag through practice, and you did make them better. There's no question about it, but guys like you at times don't get enough credit for that.
That's fine. However, that style of play is what made us great. It's that style of teamwork that's not happening in the current squad. So there's your segue.
Why don't you expound on that?
Okay, this is my first draft thesis. First off, always supporting Coach Pope. I know that a lot of people, that he ought to be doing this and that, still believe in him wholeheartedly. Look what he did last year, and let's take a look at the demographics. He had to go and get the second helpings of the portal, but those second helpings were people, Lamont Butler, Andrew Carr, Kobe Bryant, that wanted to be here. They were fighters, good players and fighters. And look what happened last year. I'll take this year's squad, same coaching staff. They haven't lost their mojo. Now you've got this cadre of players, which I'm sure, and Jim Master and I talked about this, Alan, if we had the same opportunity, open checkbook that Mark Pope had, we would have went out and attempted to buy the best players, which that I believe he did. However, the psychological profile that I see of these players is it's kind of reminds me of the latter Cal years here at UK, where it was just about playing for the billions instead of the basketball tradition here at Kentucky. That's my first draft, master thesis there. Do you change that? I don't know. We'll see. This year, I think, is a learning year with a mega program, with a mega checkbook like Kentucky. So I don't fault Coach Pope and the results today. Yeah, he's responsible because he is a coach and his coaches. But that's kind of my thesis. You don't have guys that are hungry, for the court. And I believe that may be more of learning that algorithm, whereas some of these younger coaches like John Shire of Duke and all that, a few more years of doing this, and they're a little bit better right now. They're a little ahead of the game. So I believe Coach Pope is an innovator. He knows how to adapt. So I give him grace. That's my first draft master thesis.
Okay, let me throw this at you. When you say a learning year, this is a different level than Utah Valley State. And everybody knows that. And now BYU is changing because they got a big checkbook, and they might surprise a lot of people in the NCAA tournament because they paid the most for a player. So that is changing too. When you say a learning year, okay, you learn when you come in a different conference, and I think Pope learned this is a lot more physical, it's a lot more athletic and that kind of stuff, and I think he's adjusted to it. But I don't know how it's a learning year because, one, the roster is going to probably change a lot next year like it will for a lot of people. And two, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, he's a veteran coach. I mean, what would you say? Look, Signetti, I'm not saying he's a Signetti, was a minor league football coach for a long time, an assistant forever, till he became an assistant in Alabama, then got the head coaching job at James Madison, and then Indiana. You could say he's not a veteran head coach, because he's not, but he's been in coaching forever. And so my point is, since Mark is so smart, I'm not as lenient as you are. But hey, Tom, we have different philosophies about saying it's a learning. I'm sorry. You call the guy a really smart guy. He's been basketball basically his whole life. Plus, he coached at BYU and Utah Valley State combined a whole lot of years. Can I respectfully, strongly disagree, or did I read you wrong?
You can respectfully disagree. I mean, I agree with you disrespectfully disagreeing. However, we've gotten into a culture, and it's in sports, it's in non-sports.
I love how you said that. No. That was really good.
We have to allow failures and iterations. That's the thing. That's what makes things better, Okay. And yeah, you would expect him for what he's getting paid, and and some of these other coaches to be good at that. I get that, but I'm going to give him some grace there because at least he's going for the shot. This year was the checkbook year, unlimited checkbook year. Next year, let's see what he does. First year was like, let's just see what you can do to survive and not have a horrible season. We had a great season. This year, this is where people get a little bit perturbed. When Dan Issel said after the game in Madison Square Garden, it looks like Pope went down to the lobby and just picked 10 guys, and people got all crazy about that. If you can't bust somebody's chops like that without being super sensitive, I don't know what you do. If you think Dan Issel doesn't love UK or Mark Pope, then you're, as you would say, an idiot. He was just saying what it appeared like. You know what I mean? So I'm not all kumbaya, Mark Pope, with everything, but I'm giving him grace and letting him iterate with this new set of circumstances that he has at Kentucky basketball, because this is unique. This is unique.
Okay. We're going to respectfully disagree, and that's all good. Let me defend Dan for a second. I think he was basically saying what he saw on the court that day. And that's what they look like on that day. And I don't think he meant to say that everybody on the team, that this is how they are for the whole year. Maybe he did, but I don't think so. Remember, Dan was a head coach in the NBA, and they did everything, as you know, based upon, this is my analysis of what I saw. And I always thought, not that he was misunderstood, because I don't believe that, but I do believe some fans took it first of all, you're right. He loves it. He loves UK. Just loves UK. And think of all the time he spent as a colonel and all that kind of stuff. So, when there's some people saying, well, he really doesn't love UK, I felt like throwing a pie in their face. Stop it. Dan Issel loves UK. Sure. But that was his analysis of what he saw that day, that they looked like 10 guys. An exaggeration and hyperbole. Okay, but that's how bad they played that day. Now, I don't really wonder that if he would have said the same thing when they played Mississippi State. He might have said something similar at the start of the game and then said they changed. NBA guys, as you know, are very clinical and very matter of fact to the point. They just are. And I kind of chuckled. I know this will bother some people. I kind of chuckled when I first saw it because I knew exactly what he was doing. And you know what? On that day, you can't argue with it. They sucked that day. Right. And good teams sometimes suck a particular day. So I think I know where Dan is coming from. I think I took it the right way. And if some people now don't like Dan because he said it, I can't help him. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. And it's a few, people will take shots at me at the minutes played or something on Twitter. If they don't like it, they took shots at him. Look at his coaching record. It's like, okay, it's just ad hominem stupid stuff. So I just wanted to make that let you know that I support him and what he said. It wasn't, in my opinion, mean-spirited or anything like that. It's funny, and we need more of that.
Yeah, I didn't take. I'm stepping on. I never took it mean-spirited, and I'd hope like heck people listening didn't take it that mean-spirited as well. And no. Let's get to an area where so much you could help him coach on the floor. I don't know if you have, with your busy job moving all over the place, see every Kentucky game. I know you try. You'll tell me if you have or not, but give me a feel as to how you interpolate as a big man about the improvement of Marino just from the start of the season until today, because what he did the other day was just absolutely unbelievable. 17 points, 8 of 10 from the field. He's a big man. 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. He's not looking for a three. He knows who he is. He's around the bucket. He's got a really nice feel for the bucket. I think he needs to get much stronger with his hands. I think he will, and I think he's a ton stronger than he was last year at Frederick Douglass when I saw him. So it's a process. But I love his game. What do you think from when you first saw him till today? Tom Heights, former Studley big man for Kentucky.
Well, he's listening to somebody, and he's improving. And that's a good thing. He acts like he wants to be out there and play, whereas I can't really say that for the others, which it seems more individual than working as a team. So, and he's young. So because he's young and because he didn't come in as like the number one prospect or whatever, he has a little bit of, a little chip on his shoulder. Comes to Kentucky, though, in his backyard. I am proud of what he's doing. I hope he keeps that up, and I hope that maybe if he does stay with the team and everything, which I hope he will in this level of NIL, you never know, that his example could rub off to some of the older players that would come in. I don't know. And again, Pope and his staff are going to have to be part of that as well. So it's a whole collective team function. But I hope I answered your question on Marino specifically there.
Yeah, and look, I don't know anything because you don't know in a kid's head, but I think he'll be here till he goes to the NBA. And I actually thought it, and I went, whoa, because I know he's not ready, and I know the NBA takes kids before they're ready because it's a crapshoot. They want to get you early, and then if you're good enough by the end of your rookie contract, that's where you make the big bucks. But there was a list a couple weeks ago, had him number 20 in the first round, and there's no way he's ready. Now, it's interesting, by the end of the year he might be, but because he can run and he's a big man and plays like a big man, that just shocked me. I mean, if he went to the NBA today, he'd be in the G League for at least a year, if not two.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to mature a little bit more, but he's on the right track for what I see. So
yeah. Oh, I think he's on the right track too, and I think he's a great kid. I think he works his off. I think he really cares. Yep. He's got great guidance with his brother, and I love how he looks for his mom all the time, and how important family is to him. If you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to him, I'll be shocked if you don't say, "Gosh, I really love this kid." But as a big man, do you like the fact that in today's world, I'm not knocking it at all. Like Carl Towns likes to shoot a three as much as driving to the basket. Maybe he likes to shoot threes even more, and he's really good. This is a big man who plays like a big man, and I think the tide is turning. Not that big men won't shoot from the outside anymore, because they're going to shoot from the outside, but there seems to be a little more space in the NBA, and I think there's plenty of space in college for a big man who plays like a big man. And Marino is a big man who plays like a big man. Agree?
Absolutely. And everything goes through, changes. Look at the shorts. We had Daisy Dukes, and they went down to Hammer Pants, and now they're going back to Daisy Dukes almost. So the same thing with bigness.
Okay. I'm
going to come with analogies. You know that. You have me on. It's just something's just going to pop up.
No, I understand. It's all good. But, the beauty of you is, like, I don't know what's coming out of my mouth, and I certainly don't know what the hell's coming out of your mouth. So it's all good. As a former Kentucky player who loves this place, at times, how frustrated have you been with the performance of the team?
Oh, well, really frustrated. And again, I talk to Jim Master at least every other day, and he's on your show quite a bit, so we just have a conversation. And it's like, what's up with that? Imagine how Coach Hall would be dealing with them right now. Of course, Coach Hall had more experience with Kentucky and all that, and it was a different era. So I don't want to be like, the person bemoaning the horseless carriage when a eating horse is just fine. But it is a little frustrating to watch at times. It's like, you've got this talent. It's just like, block out, maybe put your hands up on defense and help your fellow player on defense. It's just some simple things like that. It's not about athleticism, which they have. It's just doing these basic blocking. And we've got the Jimmies and the Joes. It's like they've forgotten the X and O's of the most basic element.
Do you believe that a lot of this has to fall on the players? So here's where I'm coming from. Do I think Pope is telling these kids the right thing to do? I do. And I really have never questioned that. Not going to either. But at a certain point, two things, it's like a double-edged sword, Tommy Heights, former backup center for Kentucky on the Final Four team in 1984. One, oftentimes when a coach is telling a player, to do something and they don't listen, it's because the player tuned out the coach. Oftentimes, when a coach is telling a player to something and they're listening and they don't do it, certain responsibility has to also go to the players, even though the coach gets most of the crap because they're making millions of dollars. You agree?
I agree. It's a two-way communication. That's communication. And if one side doesn't understand what the other is trying to impart, then that's not effective communication, no matter how well you think you communicate. If you haven't understood and applied, then it's bad communication. Because good communication will activate your sense of, okay, I need to do this. This makes sense, and let's work on this together. Poor communication is like, even if it's the best thing, and we both have kids, we know how that is. We give the best intention, deliver what we think is the best way, but then sometimes they just disregard that or do the opposite. So it's just human nature that it's always there's a science to it, but more so an art. And he's got to find his art, Coach Folk, with the recruiting, being the head coach of Kentucky, and with this NIL craziness.
And NIL is not going away, so we must just accept it and live with it. I'm not saying this is 1998 all over again. Please, 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 please. But, that people know the story, the players only meeting when guys were not really responding to Tubby. And then the kids on the team said, we're all buying in. And when they did, they had that unbelievable run to win the national championship. Again, I'm not saying this is that team, but I am saying I've seen this before. So have you. Sometimes during the season, the light bulb goes on. Now, I'm hoping for these kids' sakes and Kentucky fans that the light bulb went on against Mississippi State. It is possible. And if it's true, this will be a totally different season. The problem is, Tom Heights, I don't know. I just don't know. You're not going to know unless we get a much, 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 much larger sample size. One game doesn't do squat for me. One game could be the start of a trend, but to me, it's not a trend. Do you get a feel that these kids could be much better between now and the end of the season?
Yes, because they are talented. They have the ability. They have shown sense of brilliance, but can they sustain it? Are they more concerned with Bentleys or basketball? That's my thing. Are they more concerned with Bentleys or basketball?
I'm just trying to think. Can most of these guys afford a Bentley? No, not most. A lot of them, yeah.
With the NIL money? Oh, yeah.
Not everybody's making that kind of money where they can plop it down. Just because you're making the money, you do have other expenses.
Yeah, but you have financing. It's believe me, having dealt with pro athletes with Barrett, I get it. So, but anyways, that was me just being a little snarky, and I am a capitalist, so I support that. And maybe I should be asking for reparations because if we were there, we should have gotten some of that NIL money too. But that's for another story.
How much is the backup at Kentucky? How much money do you think you'd make if you played today?
We were just estimating $750,000 to $1 million.
I could see that.
I think at Kentucky, yeah.
What would
I mean? It's
he was healthy.
Probably 3-4, let's say today, maybe more.
If he was healthy, I think maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more. It's just, yeah, it'd be very interesting. So it's just kind of fun to think about it and then wonder. It's, again, when I think about it, I'm happy for the players. It's to me really taking a kink to the game, and I'm very for the NCAA and their stupid hypocrisy. I just have zero respect for them. So they allowed this to get out of hand, and that's who I hold responsible for this craziness. So it's really what it did. And if you're a Kentucky or somebody with big pocketbooks, it benefits you. It hurts the smaller teams, universities and programs. So that's what I say. There's hypocrisy with that. But hey, good for us that we can buy whoever we need to. But it's causing us problems because this is like stock investing. We got these players and they alluded to this the other night in football on that one game. I think it was a Miami game, saying, "Hey, it proves you don't have to go focus on the 5 stars. Get the 3 and the 4 stars who want to be there." And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what we're talking about. We paid up for a 5-star, and we're getting like a 2-star return on it.
That's true. Tommy, as always, I appreciate it. How's your life? How's your business? You still doing the cold plunges?
Still doing the cold plunges, and you saw me on the video there. It's getting that beard white like you. I'm trying to be like my idol, Alan Cutler. So it's trying, but it just doesn't get us full. But I'm trying to be like you, Alan.
You got a nice goatee going, dude. I thought the goatee was nice.
Yeah, it's what I call my book beard. When the book's finished and the beard comes off, and this is annoying. I don't know how you do it, but it's annoying to me. So
every time it becomes annoying, I immediately shave.
Maybe I'll do that. But I need this for Chicago tomorrow. I'm flying up to see my son and my daughter-in-law for his 30th birthday. So I'm going to go from 85-degree weather to 5-degree weather by the end of the week. So I got to prepare for that game.
Yep, keep it covered. Hey, Tommy, as always, I appreciate your time. God bless you, brother, and hope we talk soon.
Okay, you too, Alan. Bye now.
Okay, Tommy Heights, always fun. Nate McPeak. Nate tells me he's on the Zoom. Jimmy, you got him. We got to take a break, and then we'll go to Nate. You do. Okay, it's a beautiful thing, an absolutely beautiful thing. Really curious to hear Nate's take on a young man who's going to play football for the University of Kentucky, who he knows very, very, very well. And I know Blue Lotus Health very, very, very well. They're great. Ramon Carriega, a special dude. He's helped me tremendously. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture. 6 needles in you. You relax. I learned to relax. So many different things he can help improve. Back, neck, shoulder, arm, hand pain, foot pain, sciatica, myopathy, metabolism issues, autoimmune, breech, infertility, parasites, low energy, confusion, headache, dizziness, seizure, all kinds of other stuff. He believes he can help you and has helped many, 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 many people. It's a fascinating science. It is. Acupuncture, Blue Lotus Health. Please use my name, on Versailles Road. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Talking about a UK football player with a high school coach who knows talent. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. One of the most successful high school coaches in the state of Kentucky in football. Do you like Nate or Nathan? I think I asked you that before.
Yeah, either one's fine. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good, man. Thank you for joining us. Give a field that you probably know the number off the top of your head. How many years you've been at Frederick Douglass, and how many kids have gone to college to play football on any level? Because I think what you've done is very, very, very impressive. I give you a lot of credit for you and your staff for putting kids into college, that kind of thing, so people get a feel for what happened at Frederick Douglass.
Well, we opened in 2017, so I've been part of the staff the whole time. I worked for Coach Landis, which just got the Louisville St. X job in 2017, 18, 19. And then I've been the head coach going into year 7. So it's actually crazy to think about, but we're going to have our 10-year anniversary during football season next year. So we've been open for 10 years and had a lot of success. So we're over $15 million in football scholarships through my time, the 7 years as a head coach. And we signed some guys in the early years too. I had a lot of guys and, actually have some guys that are NFL draft eligible this year, and I hope they get drafted and wish them luck and all their prep and all that. So, we've probably had 50, 60 guys signed through the course of our 9 years. And I know at least half our senior class is going and playing college football every year that I've been the head coach here. So that's my number one job, is to try to do that if kids want that as a dream. And obviously it's very tough right now for high school players with the portal and kind of the landscape of college football. But if they're good enough, I think our player development program with our staff and what we do here can get them there. And I feel like that's my number one job here at Douglass, is to do that.
Okay, so tell me if I'm out of my mind, which you wouldn't be the first. So I'm looking at some of these kids who won't have the opportunity at a Kentucky, right, or a Louisville or a Cincinnati right away because of all the players going in the portal. So I take the positive spin, which is some of your kids who might have gotten a scholarship at Kentucky who won't get one now, that meaning their talent is their talent, might get a scholarship at EKU. Okay, they're not going to make the money, that they would at Kentucky, but they're probably going to get to play earlier, which means at times, and I really believe this. I know it's not popular if you have a really good coaching staff, because everybody's got a good strength coach and everybody's got a good weight room. I mean, some are more Taj Mahals than others, but you've been in more programs than I have ever been. And have you been in a place where they don't have good weights? I mean, weights are weights. I mean, they might not be fancy, whatever. So some of these kids might really develop on a lower level where they might not have gone, but then they could move up and make a lot more money at a bigger school. So with the NIL, it's crazy. So perhaps they won't get where they might have gotten right away. But if you work your tail off and you put on weight and you grow and develop, all things you live your life with, that it might be as good, if not better. Not in every case, but in some cases it might be better, because now all of a sudden you're a junior and you've played for 2 years versus, let's say, being a backup at Kentucky for 2 years. Does that sound nuts? I really believe.
No, you're 100% right. I kind of view it like being at a junior college, and I would say a lot of the group of 5 coaches would say that. They're thinking in terms of either each year or 2 years of a kid's development. And it's crazy to think about that as a high school football coach. But, I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm kind of a general manager at times instead of a high school football coach, which, has vastly changed my dynamic over the last, 3 to 5 years. And obviously we have some talented kids here at Douglas, and we want to do that. But I mean, you take a kid like an Avion Chenault that had an outstanding senior year for us, and he kind of got caught in that as well. I think he's talented enough to play in the Power 4 level, but he's at Western Michigan, and he started as a true freshman at wide receiver, and they won the MAC this year. So he just now went back to school, saw me the other day, but I just use him as an example. Like, he's a legit athlete that probably should be at an SEC school, but he's just caught in that, what you just said, unfortunately. And, like I explained to our parents, and that's the biggest thing that parents need to understand is, these 17, 18-year-old kids, they're competing with 23 and 24-year-olds for the same spots. Is it fair? No, but that's reality. And if they want to go to Kentucky or one of those elite programs in the SEC right out of high school, then they're going to have to be an elite player, and they're going to have to look the part too, with weight and size and all those things, all the intangibles we always talk about.
I'm glad you said that. I threw this out today. Indiana has 47 players between the ages of 22 and 25. Now, no disrespect to your kid who's at Western Michigan. Come on, is he 17, maybe 18?
18.
Okay, 4 more years lifting weights. If he's judicious in what he does, he's going to be a different player. And so my thought is he might be better being at Western Michigan now because he got the start as a true freshman. He might develop more if he's got a good wide receiver coach, which you would know. I wouldn't have any idea, because they're going to come a-coming. I mean, if he has a season where he scores, I don't know what he did this year, but if he catches 40 balls, somebody's going to be coming. So if he has to be there 2 years and then moves up, he'll make more money if he's good enough to move up in that third year than he might have at a place like Kentucky if he ended up being a sub for 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, it's obviously, when kids come into our program as freshmen, if they have this goal and desire, we want to do everything we can to help them play at the highest level possible. But more than likely, that's the route that a lot of these kids are going to have to take at the high school level. You're exactly right. And it's just a mindset shift. And, I don't like it as a high school coach. I hate it for the high school kids, but I'm not mad at the college coaches. I mean, they're just playing the hand they're dealt. Hopefully we get some regulations on it, at least some set of rules, for things moving forward. But you're exactly right. And, parents and players and everybody associated with the whole process needs to understand that it's a different mindset for sure.
Are you proud as a what with Jamarian Harkless?
Yeah.
Listed 6'3" and 315. I'm going to guess without knowing he's actually more than that. You tell me.
Yes.
A couple years at Purdue, and he's a redshirt junior. So tell me about him. What kind of kid is he, and what do you think he might be able to accomplish at Kentucky?
I mean, he's a really quiet kid. He's come out of his shell some. He's definitely matured a lot at Purdue, and that's helped him. He was a kid that was on our state championship team, helped us win a state championship in 2022. Great player. And he was originally committed to Auburn, and that was when Hugh Freeze got the job. And I remember, I tell this story all the time. I remember the day after the state championship game, like at 11 the next morning, I got a call that they weren't gonna continue to recruit him, and he was an early signee in December. So we're sitting there with nothing, for a couple weeks before we could sign in December. And luckily we were able to, Purdue stepped up to the plate, and he was able to go there and develop under their staff. And he's a really, really good player. He's a first and second down run stop guy on the defensive line. But I'm most proud of his growth in academics and just how he's taken the job seriously throughout the process of being a college football player. But he's definitely going to help Kentucky, and it's good to have him home.
Was Kentucky ever involved in the picture before, he ended up going to when Auburn backed out?
Yeah, they were originally. Sorry about that. I'm in school. But, they were originally involved a little bit. And Auburn was kind of a place that in high school, that was kind of a place that he wanted to be. And that was kind of his dream. So they did recruit him with the old staff, and that was where he was committed to. But then, like I said, all that happened with the new coach and all that. And I was able to go to Purdue. And then obviously the story's written where he got a lot of snaps in the Big Ten in the last couple of years. And then, was able to obviously get to Kentucky here over the last week.
By the way, so you're saying he's 6'3", listed to 315. What do you think he really is?
He's probably, we'll just say, I'll be generous to him, but he's probably a little bit more than that. Probably 15 more pounds, probably.
Is he around 350?
He might be. I'd have to, but he doesn't look bad. He's definitely within very big but strong. And I saw him a couple days ago, and he looks really good. So definitely big, and you need that in the SEC. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So we'll just label him. Tell me if this is fair. He's a big man.
He's a very big man. Yeah, and he's athletic. So you have to have both to play in that league and the Big Ten for sure.
And this is not fair because you don't know. Maybe you do know all the kids that are coming in, and they're on paper, they've done a hell of a job. Let's see how many of these guys can play. And I'm not being negative, but the hype machine is going on. I'm all for the hype machine. I hope Stein does great, but let's see it first. And, you're reading about these kids. I didn't know these kids. I mean, I'm just being honest. I didn't. Maybe you knew some of them. But, who started, who didn't start. If you're starting at Ohio State for 2 years in a row on the offensive line, hello, and he might not be the best lineman coming in on the offensive side. It seems like they've really changed their offensive line. Is your young man, do you see Jamarian, and it is, I am pronouncing correctly, Jamarian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harkless.
Yeah, Harkless. With the spelling, I'm known for not pronouncing names right, so I always rather ask than screw up. Do you see him possibly starting at Kentucky?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be in the mix. Coach Stewart, I know him well, and obviously we've had a relationship with him over the years with Coach Stoops, and I was happy to see him be able to stay on staff with Coach Stein. I don't know a lot of the new coaches. I've never met Coach Stein. I'm excited to meet him down the road. I know they're still busy with the portal stuff. But I know that, they'll have a relationship with us here at Douglas. But I definitely see him in the mix and continue to develop and work on the things that he needs to work on with Coach Stewart and, obviously be able to hopefully play in the NFL.
Yeah, I really like that they kept Stewart. I think he's a really good dude who's a good coach. Interesting. Hopefully play in the NFL. So you think he has a shot potentially as that kind of player?
Yeah, I always thought that even when he played here with us. I thought that about Dane Key and Jagger and some of the other guys that have played for us. I kind of see, obviously I'm not an NFL scout by any means, but I know enough about it and kind of how things project. I think if he continues to develop as a pass rusher, continues to develop, obviously on all the things in his game, he has that potential, to definitely play at the next level. But he's got to have a really good year this year, and and I've shared that with him. He's got to have a good year and get some really good film.
Okay, I never thought I would ask a respected high school coach this question. Nate, do you have to deal with NIL?
No, not so much in Kentucky. It's kind of out of our hands the way the rules written. So for us, I can't have a kid go get something and put a Douglas jersey on and say I'm number whatever for Douglas and I'm selling this protein bar or I'm doing this. Now they can do it on their own. They're able to do that. That's legal, but they can't like put our stuff on. I can't mandate it. I'm not an agent, but I will say this. I've told all of our guys, because I don't view them as that. They're just my kids to me because I love them. But I've taken a lot of calls the last few weeks on our guys that are in the portal, and and I don't view them like that. So it's definitely something that, I told them I'm going to get an agent fee for sure.
So you're getting calls for the obvious reasons. People want to know the background of your kids, because money is one thing and whatever, but you still have to say, am I getting a bad kid or a good kid? And I'm not surprised you're getting phone calls.
Yeah. I mean, it's, college coaches are going to call and, kind of ask on guys and what they do. And obviously they can see their potential and things like that. So just, very interested in kind of being that guy. And, that's what's happening nowadays, in between all these things. And like I said, hopefully we can continue to have a little bit more rules with it and all that. But definitely have taken a lot of calls on our guys. But I always kid them. I was like, man, so-and-so's this, so-and-so's that for sure.
You got a kid. Hey, Nate McCree, thanks for your time. You're doing a hell of a job at Douglas. The thing that stuck out to me, $15 million in scholarships for you over the last 7 years. That is, that's unbelievable. Congratulations. There is such a thing as education. I know it gets lost in the shuffle, but what you said in the conversation about Harkless, that he's getting serious about the books and he's going through the process and that kind of stuff. See, to me, it is still about that. God bless the money they make. I don't begrudge anybody, but you still should try to get an education.
Yeah, that's what I tell our guys all the time. Like, at some point, ball ends, and you got, hopefully another 40, 50, 60 years of your life. What are you going to do? And, some guys are going to make that type of money, where it's life changing, but there's a lot of guys that won't. And there's a lot of guys that go in the portal and never get to play another down of football again. So definitely something that has to occur.
Hey, I appreciate your time. Good luck this year. And hopefully during the season, let's put it this way. If the week that you're playing for the state championship, you're going to be busy as hell, I'm going to embarrass you on the air. Would you guarantee me 15 minutes?
Absolutely. I would love to do that, and I appreciate it. And we have a good team coming back, but 6A football in Kentucky is really, really good and a lot of great teams.
Hey, man, thanks for your time. I appreciate your knowledge and keep on helping kids. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Cutler. I appreciate it. Go Broncos.
There you go. Go Broncos. I like that. He snuck that in. That was really good. Jimmy, you see his smile? Thanks, Nate. That was really cool. Hey, I don't know who started that, by the way. Maybe you do, but it's interesting how coaches now say that all the time. You know who the first was? It's only the last 3 or 4 years.
The only one I can remember is Russell Wilson when he was with the Seahawks. Every press conference, he'd say, "Go Hawks."
You know what? I can't think of somebody before that.
Yeah. That would do it every time. Like that was his thing.
And he would do it real quick and then very often just boom, walk away from the microphone. He was like, you're dropping the mic. There's also this way of saying, I gave you enough time.
Yeah.
Good. Well, another day, a hell of a show. Really good. Jimmy, I appreciate it tremendously. It's been a fun day. Thank you for listening. Please tell one friend if you don't mind, if you enjoy the show. And I got 4 or 5 people at Rupp Arena the other day saying, hey, look, a friend told me about the show. I'm going, oh, getting feedback like that. That's a beautiful thing. And by the way, at Rupp Arena or whatever, coming out, you want to take a picture, not picture, you want to say hi, listen to the show, whatever. I'm very approachable. I might not look approachable, but I've always been very approachable. So please say hi. I appreciate you tremendously. Have yourself a great day. Brad